Hey, let's talk about games.
Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back. We're going to be talking about Inquisitor Martyr today, and this video has been perhaps a little bit overdue. Well, the thing is, we've had a bit of a silence on Martyr recently in terms of videos from myself and pretty much from anyone else. There hasn't been a lot to say. So for the past couple of weeks, I feel, and I always have this little bit of duty, because I made this channel by making content about Martyr primarily. I thought this would be a good way to really cover a game in depth so people knew what they were buying, knew what they were getting into, and we could all discuss feedback, try and make the game a little bit better. But the reality is, recently, that has been very difficult to do. Very, very difficult to do. The reason being that feedback, the time for feedback, I really think is over. The developers have maybe 500,000 pages of various posts, various moans, rants, rambles, etc. from Steam forums, Discord members. The developers know what is currently popular and not popular with the game. The time for feedback, I really think, is long behind us. The time for entertainment from the game, let's face it, is also not really upon us, because the game currently offers a story and not a lot past that. You can repeat the same 4 missions again and again if that is your cup of tea after you've completed the game, but that, let's face it, is not something that's going to keep most sane individuals happy for a long period. Of course, we did have the season added, but again, that was a couple of hours of additional narrated missions with some voice acting, followed by the same repeated process afterwards. And I really would say that I'm not too surprised that the player base now is the lowest it's ever been, and there's not really much to discuss because Neocore are currently within their turtle stance. This is where they go into a long, prolonged period of silence while they're working on something, and then bash it out all of a sudden, and, well, they may be a stream or something just beforehand. We obviously have their, what you could call a roadmap, which is currently basically the promise that there will be seasons for the game, which really hasn't added anything, although it is dynamic now at least, so they can change the dates when we know a season's going to be a bit late. But really, there's just nothing to discuss. And this in itself, I really feel, is worth mentioning, that the reason that there is this awkward silence is that there's no whispers or hype basically circulating around the game as to what might be coming, what they might be working on. We've not had anything teased or leaked. There is just simply an absence of anything for people to currently actually be excited about, especially for those that have left the game and thinking, well, I might come back if it gets some changes to this, that and the other. There's nothing that sort of keeps that little bit of your mind excited. Oh, I wonder what if. Previously, we always had these marketing spiels within the old roadmap that painted a very glossy picture of the game. Let's face it, some of the language was pretty generous. It was going to be the next step or milestone in ARPGs. It's going to have an endless something. It's open world sandbox. That was also in there. There was a lot of phrases that were put in that really sort of kept us hopeful for the future. I think now, perhaps, and maybe this is a sign that Neocore don't want to raise hopes and want to keep things realistic. I don't really know. This may just be because they're working on something that they don't want to spoil until it's just about ready to try and drum up some, I don't know, dramatic turnaround hype where all of a sudden something comes out making it wonderful. It may not be that at all, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to get your hopes up that will happen. I would say it is it's gonna be one hell of a story if they turn this around from having 100 players to going up to some form of satisfactory level. Hey, if it happens, great. But I think it's something that's perhaps on the further end away from being a realistic expectation. But what I wanted to do is basically to make this video to let you guys know, partially those that are following the game, that have been following me for a long time, Hydra, why aren't you talking about this? Or Hydra, what's going on? Have you fallen asleep? Why are you not covering Martyr? Well, this is basically the current situation. We are currently in a long, awkward silence with a few tumbleweeds surrounding us here and there, floating back and forth, simply waiting for something to cover. And I think it's safe to say that every other streamer, especially the ones I've met and know actually, are in a similar situation where the more we play those same 4 maps again and 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 again, because that's the only thing you can do for what passes for endgame these days, the more you just want to uninstall the game straight out the bat, because it's so very quick to become repetitive. I mean, all games become repetitive, I grant you that, but the way this has been implemented really does rub your nose in it. So, the question is, and I think I'd like to end this on a curious note rather than just having a good old moan, what would it take to bring you guys back? Would you even come back? Could there be anything that would bring you guys back? Or are you pretty much done? I'm very, very curious to know. Me, myself, I actually think that the one thing that might make me a little more interested in the game is an actual feature. And I don't really care what feature in particular. Reason being, if they polish the weapons, if they make them interesting to use, if they make the enemies more varied, not in terms of aesthetics, in terms of ability, so you have different playstyles and strategies, if they have a bunch of new items that create various builds and options and balancing points where various people can all compete at the same difficulty, if they have a bunch of new missions, all of that's pretty nice to have and really should have been in the game at launch, but would kind of help to make the game feel more rounded. But making a game more rounded, let's face it, doesn't really bring people back into a game. I've been looking and dabbling with Van Helsing again recently, wondering why was it, even though that game wasn't perfect, it had some fairly positive reviews, and I honestly think it's because Neocore were brave enough to do something a little bit quirky. Fun type of quirky though, not like we're going to go completely against the meta quirky, which is kind of what Martyr's done. More like, oh, we're going to do this, that, and we're going to try, I don't know, a tower defense style, which is something completely different, but hey, they made it work. Within Martyr right now, unfortunately, I feel like most of the design choices that went away from the meta of ARPGs, such as a single-player only campaign, not really popular. Having a weird power level system to sort of govern progression and reduce damage inflation, again, not that popular, although did allow cross-party play, but again, still, that basically wasn't seen as adequate compensation, I think, by many people. The weapon system as well, not having interchangeable skills, though some loose justification was there. Again, not very popular. And really, I'm wondering where Marty can pick up something that actually offers something that other ARPGs don't. Because at the end of the day, if you want a decent ARPG, just go play yourself a little bit of good old Baldur's Gate. Go play a bit of, oh, whatever that game is that people always talk about, Diablo 3, you know, the rubbish one made by Blizzard. Joking. I do quite like it, it's not terrible. Path of Exile, if you love spreadsheets, there's lots of ARPGs out there. Victor Vran, you name it, there's lots to play. But what is it that Marty actually offers that these don't, other than the fact that it's got a 40k skin, and that is not sufficient to sell a game and to keep people playing it long term? I'm really curious. Is there anything they could implement? Perhaps that fortress system, maybe. The fortress system actually sounded quite interesting. Base raiding, designing missions for other people to fight against, upgrading a base for people to fight against. Certainly sounded good, but then again, so did many things within the media spiel. Guys, keep me updated. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I think it's safe to say over the next few weeks we're going to be doing some videos on some other titles. We're going to venture away from 40k a little bit because, let's face it, the only 3 games I really cover right now within 40k all have a player base of about 200 people. So all in all, a bit of a disaster from a PR perspective for me, but fortunately there are other games out there in the world, so I'm going to be checking them out, and feel free to join me for the ride. Guys, have yourself a great day, and I'll see you soon.